Hey friends, welcome to another Tuesday of Leadership Insight from our Affecting Destiny Conference with Bishop Tony Miller. Excited you joined us today. We're doing these on Tuesdays, so be looking out over the next few weeks about these insightful videos and interviews. Today, Bishop interviews Pastor Sheryl Brady. She's from Potter's House North, and they have some incredible insight on leading during crisis and responding to the call of God as a leader on your life. I know it's a challenge. We're all facing a very challenging situation and scenarios in our own life of ministry. So I want you to lean in, get your pen and paper out. Let's take some notes and let's learn with Bishop Tony Miller. Let's check it out.
I want to introduce to you a guest that has been a dear, dear friend. Her and her husband have been friends for a long, long time. In fact, I was just speaking to her earlier about the fact it was 1993, I'm almost positive, when they first came to preach for Kathy and I. That's 27 years ago. And the ministry that God has given to them at that time was incredible. And from that day has just continued to rise to a whole new level. The lady that I'm speaking to you about, her name is Pastor Sheryl Brady. She leads Potter's House North in Dallas, Texas, and has incredible influence not only across the nation, but really around the world. She's known as one of the premier preachers of our generation, but she's also been one of the great leaders. She's an incredible worshiper, and I believe that the contribution she's going to make today to AD Digital is going to be something of incredible value. I wanted to introduce Pastor Sheryl to our conference this year because I believe she carries something of the presence of God, and she carries something of the way of the Lord that is important for every leader to capture. Sometimes we believe that everything is just in our technique, but actually our real impact flows out of our relationship. And Pastor Sheryl's been used in an incredible way for many, many years. And I know she couldn't be with us in person this year because we couldn't do this in person. So I've already spoke to her about coming next year, but I wanted to introduce her to our Affecting Destiny family and crowd. And I want you to welcome with me today, Pastor Sheryl Brady. Pastor Sheryl, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be with you today.
Well, it's a great honor to have you, and I'm really blessed that you would take this time to share with us. And I just want to lean into some things that I know that not only you've experienced and walked through, but your life is such a testimony to all of us. It's not just the words that you say, it's who you are that just radiates to me every time I'm ever in your presence. So I wanted to lean into a couple of things if I could. Why don't you tell people just a little bit about your journey? I know you're married to Bishop Joby Brady, but tell me a little bit about your journey.
That's why it's take all day, you know? One of the things I'm happy about is that my journey along the way, God sovereignly connected our paths. Wow. And I'm so honored today to be able to, I was so excited about coming to your conference, but I'm just going to trust the Lord in the fullness of his time. Right. That it's going to all work out. But we, like you said, we've known each other for many, many years. And I appreciate you. I appreciate the word of the Lord that's in your mouth. I appreciate the leadership that you model. You don't just tell people about, but you model it. And I am grateful for that. I'm grateful that you're the real deal. And that you love Jesus. And, you know, when you love Jesus, you know when those around you love him too. And you're one of those. And I'm grateful. I've been serving the Lord for many years. I'm coming up on my 60th birthday. And listen, I know 60, but you know what? Hey, I'm just happy to have a birthday in the middle of COVID. I'm so grateful to God to be living. But I'll tell you, I was born on Easter Sunday. I was born in the home of a pastor. My dad was a pastor. And so I've been going to church my entire life. Okay. You probably heard it said that the only drug problem I ever had was my mama drugged me to church. My mom and dad drugged me to church every time. I wouldn't take anything for that right now. I'm grateful for that. And so I've been in ministry. I know a little bit about it. I married a preacher. Of course, we know in the big picture, he was God's preacher the whole time. But when I married him, I didn't know I was marrying a preacher. I didn't know that God had called me either. And I was actually 32 years old before I realized that there was a gift inside of me that God wanted to bring to the surface. I lived with that gift in me, and honest, I didn't know it for so many years. I was hiding behind my husband, not like in a bad way, but I was cool with that. I loved it. He was a big talker. I wasn't. I was quiet, shy, and so I had no idea that there was a preaching gift or ability in me. And it's like I think about Adam. It's like Eve was locked up inside of Adam, and God was able to reach into Adam and pull out of something out of him that he didn't even know was there. And that's just how I think about it. It's like God said, Adam, lay down, boy, I'm about to show you what you got in you. And he reached in Adam and he pulled out Eve. And he had it, Eve was in there the whole time. There was a Pastor Sheryl Brady in Sheryl Brady the whole time. Just didn't know it. Wow. And I just makes me kind of just always say to people, wonder what's in you that you don't know is there.
Wow. That's awesome. So let me ask you a question. I know that you began the journey being a preacher that would preach primarily in conferences, and then you took on roles as pastor, and now the pastor at Potter's House North. What are some of the greatest challenges that you faced? And if I can, let me lean into the whole fact of what were some of the greatest challenges you faced as a woman who had been called to lead a congregation of people and not just speak at women's conferences?
Well, I think leadership, just period, whether you're male, female, whatever, leadership has its own set of challenges. When you realize that there's other people looking to you and listening to you and expecting to hear from you, especially in this kind of a crisis that we're in today, that brings on its challenges all in and of itself. And for me, I've been blessed. I'm surrounded by wonderful leaders. My husband is a wonderful leader. I've been so blessed to have a relationship with Bishop Jakes, who is an incredible, renowned world figure. And just strong men. My whole life, you are a strong man. Just the strong voices in my life, and I do honestly believe that it has given me maybe a sense of endorsement that would cause me not to have to fight so many battles that other women have had to fight. And there's been many, many women that have gone before me, and I stand on their shoulders, and I stand on their shoulders surrounded by great men. And I have been able, so many doors open for me that other people might have had to fight for. I haven't had to do that. And I attribute that to the blessing of the Lord, to the strong voices and leadership that's in my life. And when I felt, I remember Bishop Jake said to me one time when we first came and started the Potter's House North, he said, calls me Sheryl. He said, Sheryl, he said, I'm looking to you for leadership. And that's like the fear of God hit me, because I knew at that moment I couldn't stand and hide behind anybody, that I had to know the voice of God, that I had to hear God, that his word had to become real to me. And I'll tell you what, and then to make matters worse, he said, now let me tell you something about this stage here. He said, you might could have said some things on your stage, but when you stand on this stage, he said, all the news media of the world can pick up on that. And he said, and so you got to be careful to weigh your words. Lord, I'm like, I don't have a whole lot of words anyway. So now I got to weigh them. But it taught me such a great lesson. It taught me the lesson that when your words carry weight, you have to weigh your words wherever you carry them.
Wow, that's powerful.
Because even in a crisis, one of the first casualties of a crisis is trust. And so I think it's important. I learned that lesson a long time ago, That's to be careful. I heard it in Sunday school. Be careful, little mouth, what you say. But as a leader, it's so vital that we are careful. So back to the question. You asked the challenges. I think my challenges are, most of them are genderless. And it's just like every other pastor. Lord, what's now? What's next? What's going on in this moment? What is your plan? How should we come out of this moment? What should be different about us? And I think those are the things that people want to hear, and that I'm asking the Lord, because I want to hear them too.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's really, really key, I love what you just said, because though you are a incredible lady who has a leadership role, one of the things I've noticed about your life is that you were not just trying to make a mark as a woman. You really just wanted to be God's person in what you were doing. And so in the processing of everything that went on in your life, can you give us a glimpse of a little bit? I know the presence of God is a big deal to you. I know you carry that. I know you're a great worshiper. Can you talk just for a little bit about maybe the processing of what it took to become somebody that God could trust?
Whew, that's pretty big right there. I'm grateful to God that He can trust me. Bishop, this is being a worshiper. You said that, but being a worshiper has always been my first job. That's what I did when I was a child. That's what I did coming through my teenage years. It's what I did when I realized I'm the mother of 3 and they're all under the age of 2. And my husband says we're evangelists. OMG. So worship was really what brought me through all of that. So that relationship with God has always been ultimate to me. And it was really actually in worship that I learned who I was and what I had in Him. Wow. As I would call Him holy, amazing, awesome, He would turn around and tell me, and you're the head and not the tail, above only and not beneath. So it was an exchange. It was like, as I would tell Him who He was, He started telling me who I was. And then He started opening the door for me to help other people find out who they are. And it's one door open after another. But it all points back to that relationship with Him. And I am who I am by the grace of God. And I am so grateful, and I need His presence. See, some people have this huge personality, and they can get up and just move a crowd. They can say the right things. And if it's not all awesome, their personality kind of covers it up, whereby I'm that quiet girl, that shy girl. And I don't have that big personality. So I walk onto a stage limping, like, God, if you don't help me, if you don't help us, I'm going to make a fool out of both of us, God, because you're dad, I'm your child, and these are your people. But I lean on Him. I always have leaned on Him. I have just always leaned on Him.
That's pretty incredible, because I really sense so much that there are people that are watching right now in this one-day digital seminar that feel like I don't have that big personality deal. And there's still a place for me, because you obviously lead a great church. I mean, Potter's House North is, I don't know what the attendance is now, but it's several thousand people. And you have influence in an incredible way. So that's a great word for people today. Ministry is really not personality driven.
Yeah.
It's really presence driven, with his hand being on your life. Go ahead. Why don't you speak into that whole issue about personality?
You just said that just now. I mean, you said it's not personality driven. I'm like, I want you to go stand on the tallest mountain you can stand on and yell that out, because for many people, they have thought so much about it being personality driven. And I don't mean this to be bad, but there are a lot of career criminals out there today that are not really called into ministry, but it just looked like something they could do, or it looked like a great way to, for people to know your name. And all of that, at the end of the day, all of that is fleeting, and whatever it makes you feel, it's you can bank on. It's nothing you can hope on. It's all about that relationship with Christ, and it's so not about us. And COVID-19 is teaching us. If it's teaching us anything, it's like God is saying, "Let me tell you something. I'm in control here. Not even the coronavirus is in control, and I can stop this world on a dime if I get ready to." My God, that's what He has done. And we're at that point where we're like, okay, God, people are back to praying. They're back to tuning in. They're back to wanting to hear God. They're back to saying, Lord, if you just let me live, I'll tell somebody about your goodness.
Right.
It's not about me. It's not about my personality. It's that the excellency may be of God and not of us.
Yeah, right. I think that the one thing the virus has done is it's removed all the fluff. Everything that people have thought this is necessary. Do you realize, I've said this a couple of times, there are no mega churches today. Nobody's standing in a room preaching to 10,000.
That's right.
We're all preaching to a camera or to a small crowd sitting in front of us.
Right. You said a minute ago, you said, I know you have a few thousand. I'm like, well, I know it's at one point I did. I don't know what in the world we got. What's going on right now? All I know is that it's a great moment as far as it's a great moment to love your neighbor. Forget about standing on a platform. Your platform is your driveway now.
Yeah.
It's your neighbor.
Yeah, that's really good. And I think the church world is trying to navigate and pivot and make sure they find ways to speak the word. And I think the thing that's so important at this moment is that everybody who thought they needed all the props are finding out that really what they need is a word. If they have a word, they'll have relevancy in this.
This is enough.
Yeah,
that's just parenting is enough. We don't have. I told my churches we don't have the lights. Easter. We don't have all of the wonderful things that we've had in Easter for years. The last several years. We don't have all that. Jesus has to be enough.
That's right.
That He got up is enough.
My mother, this is a story I tell occasionally. My mother, just a year or two ago, she's in her 80s, and she attends my church. And of course, the way we do church today is nothing like how church my dad grew up in, right? I mean, so she'll listen to our songs and sort of go along. She just wished sometimes everybody would sing Because He Lives or something like that, But we had an incredible move in our service and had lots of people saved and just a real move of God. And my mother came in my ready room when the service was over, and she said to me, she said, "I really enjoyed church today. The Spirit of God was here." My mother has been Pentecostal for 65 years. So she said, "But you know what?" I said, "What's that, Mother?" She said, "When your dad and I got saved, my dad was an alcoholic coming out of the Korean War, and neither one of them was serving God." And she said, "When your dad and I got saved, we went to church Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night, prayer meeting on Saturday night." And she said, "Jesus was enough."
Yeah.
Nobody had to send me a tweet. Nobody had to send me a Facebook message. Nobody had to entertain me with lights. Jesus was enough to make me want to come and be in His presence. And I think what we're finding in this virus is Jesus really is enough.
He is. We've been singing, Christ is enough for me. Yeah. We sing it, we talk it, but we're having to absolutely live this thing right now. And so that's part of and I think, Bishop, I think in this crisis, here's what I've been saying. Lord, I want you to strengthen the branches so that when we come through this, we'll be able to carry the weight of the fruit that I believe that He wants to give us in the middle of all of this. There is a fruit that He's wanting to give us, and it's going to be a lot of fruit, and it's going to be heavy. Yeah. And my prayer is, Lord, strengthen the branches, strengthen every branch in me, strengthen my staff, strengthen other leaders, strengthen the church at large, so that when we come through it, we can bear the fruit. And at the end of the day, give Him all of the glory for it. And I think we're back to people getting hungry again, getting thirsty. You know, we used to have those kind of revivals. We'd be like, we're just having a prayer revival. We're going to pray. We're going to fall on the altar. And, you know, now people will look at your conference and say, now, who's your speaker? Nah, okay, I'll come that night, or I'm not going to come. But see, you know, when we were coming up, we didn't have select speakers. We're just like, we're having revival. Just come, and we'll just see who's got the word on that particular night. Yeah. And people would show up from everywhere. Because when you're really hungry, you're not choosy. When you're really hungry, you're not picky. You just set me where some food is, and you're happy to eat. And I think that's one of the things that God's taken us back to.
I love that. When you're really hungry, you're not choosy. Yes. Wow, that's incredible. You know something, Pastor Sheryl? I can remember many messages you've preached. The last one that I was with you when you preached, I'll never forget. It was friends don't let friends live drunk.
Drive drunk.
Drive drunk.
Friends don't let friends drive drunk. Yeah.
It was an incredible word. And you were really speaking to leaders about how to really build enough relationship with other leaders that you don't let people do crazy things that will destroy their life. Can you lean into that for just 1 minute? And then I've got one more question and I'll let you go.
Sure. You know, I really just took it from Noah. I took it from his life and how the Bible said he came through the flood. He first of all, he heard God. You know, when other people couldn't hear God, Noah heard God. He built an ark. He saved his family. He followed his assignment. He did what he was supposed to do, got on the ark, survived everything, survived the same storm that wiped other people out. Noah survived. He came through it with flying colors. And then when it was time for him to come out, God sent a wind and blew back all. If you've ever been through a flood, you know what that looks like. There's mud, everything is everywhere. But he survived that. And God sent a wind and even blew out, cleared a path for him to come out of that storm that he was in. And then after that, the Bible says that he got drunk on the works of his own hands, working in the vineyard. And I thought, Lord, how many of us are guilty? We've come through so much, but then we start seeing fruit in our lives and in our ministries and in our churches and what we're building, our businesses. We start seeing fruit. And before you know it, little by little, you don't just take a sip and get drunk. It's little by little, you become desensitized. Oh, yes, we did that. And our ministry has this. And you just find yourself drunk. And I said, we all need people in our life who are real brothers, who are real sisters, so real that they will risk you not liking me anymore, just to tell you the truth. So I was talking about friends. When you see your friends and they're at the wheel and they're driving drunk and there's other passengers in the car, speak up and say, hey, if you're not careful, you're about to wreck. Love me enough, Bishop Tony Miller, to say to me, Sheryl, Brady, you're about to miss it. That to me, that's what real friendship, that's what it's about. Not the friendship that we see each other at a conference and, hey man, how are you? Good. All this wonderful, great, all that stuff that we do. But real friendship and real brother and sisterhood is when we see somebody that we love and they're about to mess up. We love them enough to say, I'm going to risk our relationship, but I am going to, because I don't want the blood on my hands.
Wow.
And I'm going to my hands by telling you the truth.
So powerful, Pastor Sheryl, because there's nothing probably more dangerous to leaders today than to be drunk on success. And you got to have everybody needs somebody in their life that's not impressed with them.
You are so right about that.
When a person lives without somebody in their life that's not impressed with them, they live dangerous.
Yeah.
And so one last question, I'll let you go, because I know you've championed this, and this is really a big deal for us in this hour. In fact, we have a session today called Learning to Lead in an Age of Rage. What does it mean to lead a church that is made up of diversity? What challenges of leading in diversity? I know you've lived through that for many years.
Yeah, this is a practical thing. I'll say that, and then I'll say another thing. But if you're a leader and you're a pastor, and you have a congregation or any platform of ministry, I would always tell my son-in-law, who's was always over the music department, I would say, Chris, whatever we want to see in the pews, we have to stage it.
Wow.
We have to stage it. So whatever, if you want all women on your in your pews, just stage it full of women. If you want all men, put the stage full of men.
It's really good.
But if you want African Americans, if you want white people, if you want Hispanic people, which is what the body of Christ really is. There's not a dominant race when it comes to the body of Christ. We are all his children. And I think the greatest testimony of that is the fact that our churches are diverse. But whatever you're leading, I think you have to make sure that you stage it so that people, when they walk in the doors, somewhere in your leadership, they see themselves and they see there's room for me here. There's room for my kind here. There's room for my tribe here. Mm-hmm. When they see that, people will plug in, I think, much easier. And it also brings a beautiful expression. Like you were saying about your mom, how she just would love. And my mom, I was blessed to have her here with me during the latter part of her life. I lost her, May will be 2 years ago. But she would come every Sunday morning and sit in her little wheelchair, and I would watch her. She'd keep her eyes closed, and she'd just pat her hands like this. And I knew she was tolerating our praise and worship. I knew that. But you let somebody take the mic and start saying, need thee, oh, I need thee. My mama would just come alive. And I'd tell our praise team, I'd say, let me tell you something. The Bible said a wise man takes out of his treasure, both old and new. There's a lot of old songs in the treasure of God. And it ministers to people in that era. God was real to them through those songs. He touched them through those songs. And if they're brave enough to come and sit in our audience and endure our lights and our loud sound, you better find a way to minister.
That's really good.
That's all about it. So that's something practical. One more thing, and I'll stop, is that love really has no color. When you love, you love. And I'm gonna tell you something, there is a love you can feel. There's a love you can feel. And I think we have to model that love, that we are our brother's keeper. Mm-hmm. And when people know you love them, they just come. They come hungry. And if you feed them, if I put out a bag of birdseed, I don't have to stand out there and say, come on in, see my birdseed, come on in, eat from my table. I don't have to do all that. If I just put it out, the hunger in them will gravitate to where the bread is.
Wow, that's good. I know that one of the things that it's marked your life. You don't run into political lanes with your pulpit. You learn to embrace all kinds of people, and you've welcomed them. And it's been an incredible honor for us today to have you as a part of AD Digital. And I can't wait till next year to be able to introduce you to our family of churches and ministries and let you bring the word of the Lord. Sheryl Brady, we love you and appreciate you, and we wish you the best. We believe that God is working powerfully at Potter's House North. If people want to get in touch with you, it's at Sheryl Brady. Is that correct for Instagram? And SherylBrady.com, I think, is your website. Is that right?
SherylBrady.com. I just released a new book, by the way. It's called Don't Miss the Moment. Somehow it came out in the middle of COVID-19. I'm like, Lord, are you sure we didn't miss the moment? God is sovereign. I just have to trust him.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's great. Well, we love you. Thank you today for being a part. Bless you. Bye-bye.
Bless you.
Wow, what incredible insight from Bishop and Pastor Sheryl Brady. I hope you enjoyed that. Listen, I want to share one specific date with you. I want you to write down right now, August the 20th. On August 20th, Bishop will be sharing in a one-day leadership live event and it's totally free. But here's the thing, you have to register. So register using the number below. You're going to text the word 1 to that number and get registered to get your free invitation. It's going to be a great day of leadership insight. Bishop will be sharing live with us. I look forward to being there, and I hope to see you too. Don't forget, take your phone out, do it right now, and we'll see you next Tuesday for another leadership insight from Effective